we're going to transition to hear from Mr. Randall Mosley from the Perry Outreach Center at this time. So please, as he is speaking, take it all in, and of course, just be ready to ask your questions at the end of his presentation. So Mr. Mosley, the floor is yours.
Hi, how is everyone? I direct you can't respond back. I'm used to smaller Zoom. My name is Randall Mosley. I'm with the Perry Outreach Center. The Perry Outreach Center is an outreach center of the Catholic Church in Downriver, Detroit. We have a sliver of Detroit. If you ever see a map of the city, you'll see a dog leg, and that's where we are. We're in the dog leg. The building that you're looking at on your screen is 3 blocks from the city of River Rouge, 5 blocks from Ecorse, maybe a half a mile from Dearborn, Melvindale, Lincoln Park, and maybe almost a full mile from Allen Park. I'm a retiree, retired educator. I taught school, in fact, in Ann Arbor back in 1990, and but I did sell out. A great deal of my education life was spent at Ford Motor Company in education, training, and development. So when I was asked to take this position at Perry, I kind of look at this thing from a very different perspective. And I was noticing when Alex slides were up, I don't know if anyone noticed, the dots were most heavily in the area of Detroit where people are educated. And when I was talking to Ms. Bynum a few days ago, one of the things that I kept going back to was, if we look at some of the problems that we have, education is the greatest determinant of income. It's also the greatest determinant of quality of life. I'm a grassroots guy now. So, I mean, I deal with people that are coming in, and as you look at the slide, it'll tell you people that are just walking in because they came to the church for help. 95% of them are not members of church. In fact, they're probably not even Catholic. In fact, the overwhelming majority are probably not even Christians. But they came to the church because it was the last place they knew to go. We offer food pantry and some other sundry, so we can help you with rent and utilities, help you find a job. But what I noticed over and over and over again, my mother used to use a term. She used to say that people are lost ball and high weed. And that's what we're seeing. The problem of food insecurity in this city is education and race driven. Without the full acknowledgement of that, this will never be licked. It's never going to get licked. For a brief period of my time, I lived in Richmond, Virginia. And I think at the time, Richmond had 3 supermarket chains. Detroit has 1, Kroger. And Kroger half performed because they have no competition. Meijer is not competition for Kroger. Meijer is a big box store that happens to have a grocery market in it, but it's very different. But thank God for them, because they do have some stores in the city. When I talk about education, though, we got to educate all down the line, where the corporate sector understands, that the population understands, and that the community leaders, there is a horrible vacuum in leadership in this community. How is it that a city the size of Richmond, Virginia can have 3 supermarket chains? The city of Detroit has none, does not have 1 major, I mean, with the exception again of Meijer. Where are our leaders? I looked at Alex's slide, and no Black-owned supermarket, very few Black-owned restaurants. And when I saw most of the dots, they were congregated in Center City, Corktown, where educated people live. When I looked at my little section in Detroit, we were what my mother would call, again, the lost ball and high weed. But my area is full of people that are poorly educated, and there's no one to speak for them. We do the best that we can with the few resources that we have. The Catholic Church is not particularly wealthy, at least not here in Detroit, to be able to do the kinds of things that we need to do. There is a shortage of fresh vegetables and fruits. When you go to most food pantries, the food is canned food, box food, things that are not, that don't easily perish, that can last on a shelf for weeks at a time. This form of people, I looked at the group. The people in this group are well educated. Everyone's got initials behind their name. It's a good thing. Hopefully, maybe the people in this group can move toward bringing people together and sharing information. We talked about independent grocers. Most of those independent grocers are not well-educated people. They're people that had access to resources to get the store going. Family, people like George, but they don't communicate with their customers. The customers that come in don't communicate with the retailers or with groups like yours. There won't be any changes if there's not any dialogue. And it's got to come from some of the de facto leaders in the community. There are still some good ministers in this city. And I'm a real talk. I said good ministers. Not ministers that want to drive German sports sedans. I'm talking about people that are in service. When we go to community leaders, not people that just want to be on the, on WDIV in the afternoon. I'm talking about real leaders. You got to cut between the wheat and the chaff. Just that simple. If you really want to change what's going on in the city as it relates to food insecurity. The landscape is very poor. I live in Southwest Detroit. I'm going to end with this. Because of where this dog leg is, we sandwich, it's good. Thank you for the slide. It shows where it says Boynton. That's the neighborhood that I live. I actually live in the house I grew up in. I was gone for 34 years, and my father passed. My wife has passed, she's gone to glory. My kids are grown. I took my dad's house, and I live back in that neighborhood. That neighborhood has 8,000 people in it. It is we consider one of the most underserved communities in the state of Michigan, save for a native reserve. It has no supermarket, no drugstore. It does have a dollar store. It has 2 liquor stores and 3 dispensaries. That's what I'm talking about, leadership. Our leaders, those people that sit on Common Council, those are the kind of people that let that happen. And that's what I'm talking about when I say we got to have education and bring people together. But you can't have the BS artists. And I'm just real talk here. You cannot have the BS artists. And a lot of our people on city council are BS artists. No way in the world should a community with 8,000 people have 3 marijuana dispensaries and no grocery store. I'm gonna leave it at that because I sometimes I get a little emotional about some of these things that are going on. But you guys know what I'm saying. Like I said, it's time to cut between the wheat and the chaff. And I'm going to turn it over to who's next. There's the Perry Outreach Center. And we are not on the main campus. We are a block east of St. Andrew and Benedict. Those are our hours. We have a client base of about 1,200 families, roughly 2,200 people. And we serve people from, in the city of Detroit, 48217, 48209. River Rouge, 48218, Ecorse, 48229, Lincoln Park, 48146, Melvindale, 48122. Now, all that being said, when people are hungry and they come in for the food pantry, we will serve anybody from any location. Nobody has ever left our facility and not been able to get a box of food. And we do offer fresh fruits and vegetables and frozen food. So, I mean, for example, today we would have ham, hamburger, sausage, chicken, and in vegetables we could have, oh gosh, tomatoes, zucchini, onions, potatoes, collard greens, kale, celery. So I mean, we try to be an island in the desert.